Hello, my name is Sandy Goehring, and I am a digital learning coach for Keep Indiana Learning. And I am here to wrap up our final part in the series on MTSS. I have spent the past 4 sessions giving you a quick overview about the multi-tiered system of supports framework. We looked a little closer at each tier and ways to build a strong program. For the final part of the series, I will share just a few more tips and then give you some quick ideas on how you can integrate technology into your process. Like before, for more information on MTSS and several other topics, be sure to check out keepindianalearning.org. And remember, MTSS is a very detailed process. It takes strategic planning and constant program evaluation. This series has just been a small, quick look at the process to get you started. So let's get started with our tech and tips for MTSS. Just like before, over the next few minutes, we'll talk about the information on this infographic, and then it will be linked in the video and shared on the Keep Indiana Learning website. So here are a few more MTSS tips to help you get started with your program. It is important to remember that a student that has been identified as needing special education supports is not in the MTSS program for their identified disability. Services for students with special needs receive individualized education based off of their individual goals. So this same is also true for English language learners. Although they may be part of the MTSS process, just because a student is identified as an English language learner does not mean that they are automatically put into the MTSS program. Their interventions that they receive should be based on their individual learning plan. Another important thing to remember is that the tiers are fluid. I mentioned this in a previous session, but the goal of this process is to determine either what the child needs to be successful in tier 1, or is there something that's impeding their learning. So, for example, if an intervention was successful and a strategy was identified that worked to help a student and it is reflected in data, then they could move back to tier 1 and that strategy can be implemented into the core instruction. It's really important that a student not remain in MTSS for many years. This is a common problem. I've seen students that have been in tier 2 from 1st to 5th grade. This is not supposed to be a lifetime program. If a child is not growing based on the data in a specific tier, the team needs to discuss what should happen next and ensure that they are in the right interventions and possibly looking at moving them to a different tier. Another trend that I see with MTSS is putting students on a spreadsheet and changing the color of the spreadsheet and then checking to see what's being done for that kiddo. MTSS is about interventions and determining what can be done to help the whole child. A spreadsheet can be used to track the data, but it needs to be deeper than that. Remember, this is a proactive, preventative process. So changing a color from green to red or yellow to red doesn't help us be preventative or proactive. Another thing to remember is that this is a team process. Helping students be successful takes a village. When developing the MTSS core team, bring together several stakeholders from different grade levels, content areas, behavioral and social supports, administrators. There might even be a time when you invite someone from the community. This leads me to the next tip. Think outside the box. I've said this several times now. Standard instruction hasn't been effective for this learner. So get creative with your evidence-based interventions. Look at the whole child and really see what is causing them to be a striving learner. Finally, let's talk about some ways to integrate technology. A simple place to start is by using your G Suites for education. Create an MTSS folder, then add several folders within there. Could be grade level, could be based off of students, could be based off of intervention or the tiers. There are so many ways to do this. Just be sure you do what works for your team. make it easy for teachers, and make it easy to determine where you need to go to find information. Teachers can put students' work in there, and you can be able to open it up during your data review process. Another tool that I love to use for MTSS is Wakelet. So think about creating a Wakelet to keep your MTSS resources, professional development videos, articles, tools for the staff to use. And the best part is that Wakelet already has tons of collections made on MTSS. So you can take those and add those to your collection, or pull resources that are in those collections and add them to yours if you really like them. One of my most favorite tips is to use Google Forms on Autocrat to automatically create those parent letters and plans. This saves you so much time. And once the template is done, all you need to do is fill out that Google form. Another thing you can use Google Forms to is for progress monitoring. Then when the data is entered, it can automatically drop the data onto a specific page in the notebook based off of the student, the grade level, or the tier. Don't forget to set up your notifications so that you are aware when the form has been completed. This can help monitor with fidelity and be able to remember to regularly check on that data. Okay, I have a few more tips. One is to set up a digital notebook. This could be done through Notability, through OneNote, through your Google Drive, if that's how you choose to do it, with setting up some table of contents with quick links to different parts of the notebook. Check out Microsoft for Education. They have worked really hard to provide tools to support learners and teachers, and really have found ways and are looking at ways to make sure education is inclusive. And then think about websites that are out there that let you enter in the skill that you need an intervention for, and they will give you some ideas for interventions. One thing to remember is always research it and make sure it fits your need and that it is evidence-based. And lastly, my last little fun tip is to follow Keep Indiana Learning. I know I've said it multiple times, but this is such a one-stop shop for all of your educational needs. There are so many resources on so many topics at Keep Indiana Learning in different ways. There are videos just like this one, and blogs, and educators talking, and it's just a great way to gain more information to help you grow your program. Finally, I want to just thank you for joining me on this trip through MTSS. It can be a difficult framework to implement, but it is crucial in helping all students be successful. Be sure to follow Keep Indiana Learning on all of your social media platforms, and connect with me on Twitter at Sandy Goehring. Thank you one more time for joining me. And most importantly, educators, thank you for all that you do for our kiddos. We don't hear that enough, but you are appreciated very much. So I will see you next time. Bye bye.